All right, it's time for our next speaker. And guess who it is? Any guesses? Kate, do you know who the next
I
speaker is?
know. Dr. Serena Huang.
Huang. That's very right. Dr. Serena Huang is our next speaker. She's the global head of data and analytics executive in fintech and an international keynote speaker on digital transformation, people analytics, HR, technology, future of work, and employee experience. Serena will talk about innovation in people analytics. I'm kind of super excited to learn more about it because it's a fairly new topic. Not a lot of people, obviously have been in this space, but Serena is out there. She's an expert. I know for a fact she also have a LinkedIn course which has come out. So I'm sure we'll be asking her a lot around those things. But without
Yes,
any further ado, let's have her up
yes.
here.
Let's bring Serena up on our stage. Hi, Serena. Thank you so much for
Hi,
being
Serena.
here. Huge
Hi, everyone.
congratulations on the course, by the way. It's the data science of using people analytics. So
Yes,
congratulations on that.
thank you.
Congrats.
All right, we're gonna give you the stage. We'll be back in about 10 minutes to take some questions from the audience. We've got your slides, so we'll put that up as well.
Awesome.
Have fun. See you soon.
Awesome.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Serena Huang, and I'm the Global Head of People Analytics, Visualization, and HR Tech here at PayPal. So I made it very easy for you. For those of you who can see the screen, there's a QR code for you to follow me on LinkedIn and check out my latest course on LinkedIn Learning, the data science of using people analytics. So what is people analytics? For those of you who are new, I keep the definition very simple. We use data analytics to improve decisions about people. Again, we use data analytics to improve decisions about people. Now, I'm going to say something that's a bit controversial. People analytics is not for HR. People analytics is for the entire company. For those of you who might be familiar with customer conversion funnel, we use a similar one in people analytics, except instead of converting customers, we apply that to candidates. How many candidates do we convert to new hires? And what stage of the hiring process do we start losing candidates? So if you have a target conversion rate, we apply the same thing in people analytics. And we can figure out how to improve this conversion rate for candidates throughout the screening process, the interview process, and the offer process. Now, for advanced analytics, instead of predicting customer churn, we apply a similar concept and predict employee churn. So that's a quick snapshot of people analytics and intro. Hopefully you'll check out my course after this. Innovation is one of our 2022 words here on our team. And I use a three-pronged approach to innovate in people analytics, which I'm happy to share with you today. First is learning focused. I want you to pause for a second here. Think back. When is the last time you learned something new at work? When's the last time you had to unlearn something at work? My favorite quote on this topic is, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Learning is a core value for me as a person, and that shows up in how I lead the team. We host quarterly learning sessions where we teach each other a skill or have guest speakers from an adjacent analytics domain internally. Because my team has two sides, a technical team and customer-facing consultants, they have complementary skill sets. So, for example, our consultants may come in and teach our technical team how to ask clarifying questions on requirements to our customers, or ask for extension in a way that would resonate with them. On top of that, all of my direct reports have a mentee on the team as well. So we check in on an ongoing basis to see how that's going. Of course, at the beginning of the year, we have learning goals for everyone on the team. And I encourage my team to pick 3 skills they want to improve on, a combination of technical and non-technical skills. And finally, to keep things social, because I'm a social person, we have a channel as well where we share content with each other, a podcast that we heard that was great, or a course that we took some on one of the platforms. So we keep that learning all ongoing on an ongoing basis. So that's first, learning focused. Second, we are absolutely customer obsessed. Not only do we get feedback from our stakeholders in individual listening sessions that I host, we also send regular surveys to get specific feedback about specific dashboards. One skill that isn't talked about a lot in data analytics conferences is how important relationship building is in an organization. We invest time in building relationships with our internal customers, and having trust from your customers is priceless. I'll say that again. Having trust from your customers is absolutely priceless. As an analytics leader, I believe in starting small, quickly pivot instead of boiling the ocean. I did not come into the organization and say, I'm going to take down all the dashboards and build everything from scratch again. I was able to start with one dashboard that was most important to the business. And with the trust I built with the stakeholder, gotten her to give us a chance to completely redesign this dashboard. Then I told the developer to have fun, be creative. She came back with 2 designs, one of which our stakeholder really loved. So that's the one we ended up building, completely redesigned it, and rolled it out to existing users. It was so well received. Some of them actually asked me, did you ditch Tableau and just buy a new platform? I said, no, I created space and time for creativity and innovation. So that's an example of how we use trust and relationship building with our stakeholders internally. To innovate further, we hosted a design-a-thon a few months ago. For those of you who follow me, you might have seen a picture of that already. After we got all the feedback from users initially, we heard a lot of pain points. Most of them were very helpful, very clear. Some of them actually conflicted with each other. So rather than trying to create a design that would take into account all these pain points, we shared it with the entire team, and I divided the team into three separate teams that consisted of customer-facing consultants, BI developers, and a UI developer. I then had a panel of judges that was cross-functional and included our chief technology officer, so no pressure, right? For each team to pitch out their new design based on the feedback in 5 minutes. So within 30 minutes, we were able to select the winning design from this design-a-thon. And I'm so fortunate to be working at a company where our engineering leaders are huge champions of our people analytics product. So we even got feedback from our chief UX officer to give us feedback on the final design as an expert review. So we are now building this out, and in a few weeks, I hope to find out that our user survey scores have improved. So stay tuned. Third and finally, we are powered by modern technology in people analytics. We're currently running a POC with ThoughtSpot. Most visualization platforms will provide you the same chart for everyone coming to the same dashboard. While that might be enough for some users, typically there's still a lot of users who are not going to be satisfied with the standard view. Those complaints often turn into enhancement requests that keep a BI team very, very busy. Yet, in my experience, it's almost like a whack-a-mole situation where one user is now very happy with the new design and 300 others are not. How do you solve this problem? Well, ThoughtSpot offers real-time analytics and AI capability for users to find insights very quickly in the data. Based on the feedback I've heard from our users, we are often living in this data-rich and insight-poor world. So how do we get to data-rich and insight-rich? Not only do we leverage real-time data, we also want to offer real-time insights. And that's where ThoughtSpot comes in for us. So how are we determining the success of our POC? Well, I told you earlier, we had collected user feedback on existing dashboards. So what we will be doing is we'll ask for feedback on the ThoughtSpot, not dashboard, live boards once we start and compare the feedback between the ThoughtSpot and existing dashboards to see if there is a higher score from our users on the live boards. So if it is, we will declare the POC is a success. So again, stay tuned. Look forward to what we find from our users. We'll let the users tell us. So there you have it. That's the last one, modern technology. Our three-pronged approach to innovate in people analytics. which I hope is applicable to all of you in other analytics domains. I really encourage all of you to be learning focused, to be customer obsessed, and leverage modern technology to help accelerate your analytics journey. Now, again, if you're interested in people analytics, check out my course on LinkedIn Learning and follow me for more content.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. I loved your presentation. We've got lots of questions coming in. First, props to correcting yourself on Liveboard versus dashboard. Cindy Hawson would be so proud. I always hear her saying, no, not a dashboard. Dashboards are dead. So I love that. You started the talk with a question asking folks to think about the last time they learned something or unlearned something or relearned something for work. And it really got me thinking. And, I personally think the unlearning is the most difficult. I feel like I can relearn a skill. I can learn a skill. That's probably the easiest. But the unlearning is the most difficult. So I wanted to just ask for maybe some tips that you have for people trying to unlearn a specific skill in the professional world.
Yeah, I think the key to that is to have an open mind and not assume what was working before will continue to work. We often see people changing jobs and they go into a new company and assume everything that was working really well in the prior employer will work here. Now, no one likes to assume. And plus, if you think about just the past 2.5 years, how much you have changed as a person. So what was working pre-pandemic many times no longer works. The same applies in data analytics, which is a field that's quickly evolving. So I always encourage people to stay open-minded and challenge themselves on their assumptions on does it still work? Just because it worked in another industry doesn't mean it will work here.
Thank you.
I agree. And there was one interesting question here from the audience, from Michael, that I wanted to pick. I'm hearing people, but thinking this can also apply to party. So if not, please clarify. So is it just about the people analytics, or it could apply to even companies or parties? Is that maybe what Michael is
definitely.
asking?
I think so. I think of organizations as a collection of people, right? So at the individual level, you have individual employees, and then you have teams, and then you have kind of business units, P&L. So it can be as big and as small as you make it. I do think a recent trend that's been really interesting, people analytics, is thinking about not only individual employee performance, but how people collaborate as a team. So what makes a successful environment at work? So collaboration is going to be key, and it's not just about individuals anymore.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. Great insight.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. There was a really good question here from Dolly. So she's asking, what career paths do you believe are available to people in people analytics, and how do we go about actually building these paths? Also, shout out, she loves your content. So
thank you. Thanks. Thanks so much, Dolly. Yes. So I think in people analytics, because you're crossing two domains, really, you have the data analytics and then you have HR. It depends on your interests. I really encourage people to think about what is most important to you. Personally, I've done a ton of soul searching in the pandemic, what matters to me as a person. So right now, my purpose is very clear in my life. And for a lot of people, they're still going through the thinking process. So if you want to be the head of HR in the future versus if you want to be a chief data analytics officer in the future, that means different career paths for you, right? On the one hand, you might need to get more HR business partner type experience to become the head of HR. On the other hand, for a chief data analytics officer, you might need to get a lot more technical experience, maybe engineering and so on. So I really encourage people to think about I wouldn't call it end goal because we now have so many careers in life, right? Many chapters, but maybe the next chapter, right? The end of this current chapter, what does it look like? And then work backwards from that. I'm a huge champion of skills, as if you can't tell already. So think about what skills will help you get there, whether that's a LinkedIn Learning course or some other course in your current learning management system that your company offers, or just YouTube is amazing. Can help you gain a lot of those skills and knowledge. Separately, I definitely encourage networking. So don't assume that a job that sounds glamorous and amazing is going to be amazing for you. I found it very helpful to get to know people who are in the roles, maybe 2 to 3 roles away from now. And I started this when I was earlier in my career, and just talk to them. What is your day-to-day like? How do you spend your time? What energizes you? What's really boring about your job that I should be aware of? And do those informational interviews up front so that you have a informed decision going in if you are stuck between, oh, I'm not sure which path I can pick. So lots of opportunities, lots of options. I love how flexible people analytics is, but I also know at times it can be challenging. So like I have too many options. I don't know what to do.
Yes, absolutely. I especially love the point about networking. That's how I broke into a data career myself. It's just reaching out to people on LinkedIn and saying, hey, do you have 15, 20 minutes to chat about your job? What do you do for a living? Do you like it? Do you not like it? People are generally so nice. I'd say 99.9% of the people said yes, they were willing to contribute their time. Some even let me record it and put it on YouTube for others to enjoy. So people are very nice in the space. So I second that one.
Definitely. Yeah, I find the data analytics community to be really supportive in general. And instead of being super competitive, I've always found it to be helpful and encouraging. So definitely don't be afraid to reach out.
Yes. We've got a question here from Mike Nash. So he's saying, most enterprises are trying to get closer to their customers. It's really important. I agree. What lessons could AI learn from people analytics, and how could they interface together? So I guess the future of AI and people analytics here.
Yeah. So one particular area that AI has been used a lot is on the hiring side. So there's a lot of platforms out there now. If you think about the resume screening process, right? Traditionally, you have recruiters, hiring managers spending hours and hours looking through gazillion pages back when people still have printers and they print them out. But now you have AI that can help, right?
I still print, okay?
Right? That's okay. Me too. We'll keep that to ourselves. And so AI can help by turning those resumes into skills, for example, and see if they are a good match for qualifications on the job description. So you sort of have this kind of smart match up front to narrow down the thousands of applicants down to maybe the top 10%. That cuts down a ton of time for hiring managers, recruiters to only focus on the ones that are close matches. Because it's so easy to apply for jobs these days, people might apply for more. So perhaps in the past, we see 200 applicants for one job. Now you have thousands. How do you screen for that without AI? It's really difficult. So I would say that's an area that will continue to be really interesting and watching closely. The other piece is really just natural language processing. Can apply in so many different ways, right? In the employee space, we have feedback, not from customers, but from employees. We have things like performance reviews as well. There's a lot of text data in the people space. And using NLP can help you understand sentiment, can help you understand themes, again, instead of combing through thousands of comments. I lead our employee survey efforts as well in my role. And oftentimes I run into leaders who will proudly tell me, I spent all night, I read all the comments in the survey, all 20,000 of them. And I said, well, that's great. But what did you learn? Well, I forgot the first 19,000 after I lost, right? Because our human brain just cannot process that amount of information and make sense of it. This is where you need AI to help.
Absolutely.
So I use those as examples of, save your time. Don't stay up all night reading 20,000 comments. Let technology help you.
Yes, absolutely. I think we have time for one more question.
Yeah. And one interesting question here from the audience. I know Mike Nash always has some interesting question. How much does psychology and cognitive studies play in people analytics? Should we look into these? Interesting.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So definitely in general, when I set up my team, I will have people with IO psychology background that help us think through, really behaviors at work and how are people wired And how do we motivate employees, what works, and then incorporating data into that. So I think that's really critical. And it's not just about data, and it's about the human psychology as well. So highly recommend. And in the survey space, of course, that's super critical. You don't want to design a survey without science behind it. Majority of what's important in a survey is how you ask the questions.
Yes. On
Very
that
cool.
note, after this whole conference is over, I'm sending out a feedback survey on the conference. So I'll make sure I keep what you said in mind as I finalize those questions. I think it is very important. Make it easy,
Yes.
right? Make it easier for you to understand what the audience is saying without boxing them into specific answers. So
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for your presentation. I really appreciate taking the time to join us at the Modern Data Fest, a combination of DATAcated and the Revit show. I think the audience is having a great time. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much
Thanks,
for
Serena.
having me.
All right, check out the course,
Awesome.
everyone. LinkedIn Learning. Look for Serena
Yes.
Huang. You'll find it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.